the Trevor Jackson podcast.
Real talk. We got another topic to get to. Nas, he released something this Friday. Legend Has It series. I'm about to pull up some of the audio so we can react to it. He had intro. I'm going to play the intro commentary first, and then we're going to get into some more. Let's go.
25 was a phenomenal year for hip-hop. I got to collab with some of my favorite artists, and to do songs with some of my brothers in this was just so dope. These guys are literally some of the best to ever do it. For Mass Appeal to work alongside these guys, it's truly a dream come true.
Okay, that was just the intro. He was speaking. So, he speaks on his collaborative efforts with De La Soul. Let's go.
2025 was a phenomenal year for hip.
Hold on. I don't want to continue to play that. Let's play this talking point.
De La is one of the only groups that's still here today, really active. You know, I've been a fan since a kid, and they grew through the times, and they just made records that just kept hitting and hitting year after year. These guys have been in every era putting it down. That's no easy task. That's not easy. That means you are built to last. That means you are the truth. De La sent me a record. I was like, all right, cool. This is the one. Let me get to it. I thought it was just a perfect record for us to do, just on how the concept was and how the track had these little moments in there to run it back. And the way Paz was flowing on it, I was like, okay, all right, I got to rep on this one. I can't disappoint them. I got to make sure I do what I got to do. So I sent back two different verses for them to choose from which one, because I couldn't really tell which one fit better. But Paz was like, nah, we good with the first one you sent. We good with that one. So that's the one that y'all hear. That's the one that made it. Glad that I got a record with these brothers, because it's been like something that I always wanted to do for I don't know how long. So,
you know, I did a reaction to that De La Soul album, and I actually did it a disservice. I'm not going to lie to you. It was something that I really couldn't understand initially. But now that time has passed, I can give y'all my perspective on it. I feel as if it was a phenomenal album. You know, it was an ode to their falling brother. And the verse from Nas was a complimentary verse. Them getting out of their situation with, I think it's Sony, the label that they had all the conflict with. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section. But for them to come to Nas, one thing that I can say about Nas that I can't say about none of these other rappers. We've been talking about the financial situation, business and music with the Stove God Cook's commentary. We've been talking about Gunplay and Rick Ross at odds right now, and they was brothers. But one thing I can't say about Nas is that I have never heard nobody complain about him with the financial structure or what he's doing with his record label at Mass Appeal. Never heard nobody complain. He probably was straightforward and giving them what they needed, or giving them access and getting them out of situations and bad deals and stuff. It's just Nas is a different type of individual. That De La Soul album is something that, you know, over time, I think it may become a classic. Because, you know, that word classic get thrown around a little bit too lightly, and I don't want to just say it's a classic right now. But the song with Killer Mike on it was phenomenal, where they was rapping about their mothers. It was a few songs on that album that was really, really some serious records. And salute to De La Soul, salute to Nas. I want to hear him speak about Big L also. Let's go.
Love Big L because he's the MC that approaches it every time to do damage. Every time he hits the mic, is to show you he's coming to kill everything. I like those type of MCs. We were both label mates for a minute at Columbia Records years ago, and we never got a chance to do a proper record. So I said, nah, man, I need that to happen. I need that to happen. So getting on a record with L is not easy. I mean, you don't come to play, because L don't play. L don't have an off day. To get on a record with him, you got to be present. The beat alone is not, it's not no happy-go-lucky shit. The beat is saying, come here to do what you got to do or get the fuck out of here. So ain't no playing around. The track, the energy of L is just, it just spoke to the MC in me. Big L was a street dude. I related to that. Back then, a lot of dudes in the rap game coming from the streets was like exciting for the rap game. To hear dudes purely talking about how they were going to be the best rapper. And they brought the streets with them. They brought the block. We brought the blocks with us. I brought the block with me. He brought the block. It was in our spirit, our soul, our flows. It was like, you know, here's a day in rap where we come to represent our hood through our voice. With that being said, Big L and I had at least 2 street conversations that I can't repeat. You know, that's how he was entrenched. You know what I mean? He was just a very knowledgeable guy about certain things, you know.
You know, I wasn't too fond of Big L until after his death. And I never heard any bad freestyle song. His lyrics was phenomenal. You know, there's people out there that got hatred stories about him, like Mace. But when I heard this record that he did with Nas on this album, it inspired me because it's 2026. That verse was recorded 25 or plus years ago. And it sound fresh. The energy, the presentation. Nas was still trying to keep up with this brother. We do not know what Big L could have been. He was a monster. And this whole year, you know, listening to this is interesting. I'm going to receive a copyright strike from this because this is a part of like, this looks like an album that Nas has released. This feature presentation, Legend Has It series of all of the songs that he collaborated on in 2025. He put it as a piece together and he's talking before all of them. So I'll probably receive a copyright strike, but I don't care because I love hip hop that much. And, you know, Big L was a phenomenal artist, man. Real talk. Rest in peace to Big L. You know what I'm saying? Great song, too. You Ain't Got a Chance. Great album. Even had Jay on the album. What I want to say about this, too, before I move forward and play the next one, because it's about Mobb Deep. And I'm looking forward to hearing this. 2025 was a lyric-driven year. You know, 2024 was dominated by Kendrick Lamar and Drake and beef. 2025, the Clips, Nas, JID, you know, they even Eminem with his verse on the JID single, Animal, they made me feel like artistry, lyrics, poetry, writing is back in style. It's relevant. It's necessary. Because what the people prioritize and what the labels use to program the masses with is ignorance, foolishness, death, destruction, Percocets, drug use, dumb shit. You know, and I ain't for that. And I commend Mass Appeal and Nas for what they did last year with these lyrics and these artists that he is reviving career, and the ones that isn't here with us no more in the land of the living. That was very high skilled artists, because that's something that is missing in this game. And looking at 2026, the only thing that we have received so far, and it's March, is J. Cole. Other than that, we have received nothing but beef and entertainment. We haven't received a piece of art from no other artist but J. Cole. And it's sad. Let me play this clip, man.
Love Mobb Deep because I knew Havoc since we was kids. You know, coming out of Queensbridge, we kind of had a lot of friends that we shared together. Same neighborhood means, it means a lot. So just seeing Havoc coming to his whole musical journey was like, wow, this dude is like dope MC, dope producer, one of the greatest producers in hip hop history, and helped put together one of the greatest groups in hip hop history, which is Mobb Deep, along with Prodigy. Rest in peace. The songs they sent me was perfect. Pour the Henny, we introduced the Henny to the game. Other than our brother Pac, we introduced it to the game. So, Pour the Henny was kind of spiritual. The feeling of the music Havoc did, it was kind of like, damn, hearing Prodigy's verse, it was like he was rapping from heaven. What is going on? Prodigy is rapping like he's not here. And it's just, but he feels so present while he's saying his verse. So I was trying to compliment that also. Being on such a spiritual sounding hardcore record like that was like, I've never done a record like that before. So like with that type of energy on it was like.
What Nas said about Prodigy was super accurate. If you're listening to this podcast right now, I would like for you to go back to that Mobb Deep album that was released last year and listen to Prodigy's verse on Taj Mahal. That shit was crazy. Like, I didn't expect that to be that. And Alchemist production, to me, Alchemist was the producer of the year last year. Pharrell had a great year last year, and he's having a great year this year with T.I. and, the song that they just released. But Alchemist last year, that production on that song, that Taj Mahal, that was sick. The verses and the song Pour the Henny was sick. The songs with Georgia Smith, I forgot the title of that song though, but I did a reaction because he did the remix with her. Nas gave them Mobb Deep 3 verses. And I want to say something about Mobb Deep because, I didn't have an appreciation for Mobb Deep like I should have when Prodigy was living, but I listened to every album, the Infamy, the Infamous, and all of those. Just everything that they released, I listened to it. And my homeboy's Toyota Supra. I remember listening to Big Noid. That was my boy. I love Big Noid, Carl Mega. I got something to say, and I know people probably disagree with it, but I want to ask a question first. Which borough in New York got the best rappers that released the best albums? Because when I think about this Mobb Deep, this Carl Mega, this Big L, this LL Cool J, this Nicki Minaj, this 50 Cent, Ja Rule, all of these folk, Run DMC, Queensbridge, man, y'all better cut it. Y'all better cut it. And I'm originally from Tennessee. But what I want to say too, also, duos, Outkast number 1. UGK number 2. Rest in peace to the pimp. Mobb Deep. This is kind of hard for me to say this because 8 Ball and MJG is what got me into hip hop really. Mr. Big, Coming Out Hard album, Pimps, and all of that, Armed Robbery. It's nostalgic for me, that 8 Ball and MJG. But Mobb Deep is the better duo. Sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Let's get into this next clip.
There's no one greater than Ghostface. Ghostface is spirit, emotion, power, genius, soul, nostalgia, all in one tornado. Ghostface's impact on hip hop is just, he's fearless. He's fearless. He's going to say anything that he feels is on his mind, his spirit, his chest. He's going to tell you anything that you need to hear that you might be scared to think. You might be scared to say. He'll say it. I like that boldness. I like that bravery. I want to do more with Ghost, like, to this day. But that one right there, I was glad we got that one in, because that one bangs. I talk to Ghost almost every day. You know what I'm saying? Through some form. We talk every day. So, I mean, like, you know, we just share information. Just sending out love, sending out peace. You know what I'm saying? So, to work with Ghost after all these years, I'm like, too much time with Bob, man. I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, should have been getting it in. But there's no time like the present. So, we had to do it. We got it in last year. I'm on Supreme Clientele too.
It's a lot of people that don't have an appreciation for Ghostface like they should have. You know, I remember the original Supreme Clientele, and I was listening to it with my homeboy Taka. He embodies that album also because he reminds me of a Tennessee Ghostface. He gives off that same feeling, that same energy. And Ghostface is an artist that is one of a kind. And being unique in hip hop isn't as appreciated as it used to be. You know, it's a lot of styles being mimicked. It's a lot of people that's from one region sounding like another region because they're watching social media and the world seems smaller today than it used to. And regional music isn't as appreciated as it should be. Originality isn't as appreciated as it should be. And when I listen to Ghostface, he's one of a kind. It'll never be another Ghostface. He fought for his style too. When Action Bronson got in the game and he disrespected Action Bronson, he was ready to fight for his style. Because who are you? Even though you inspired, don't be sounding like me, nigga. He about crashed out, and I wish I could have played the video of him crashing out about that. But back to Ghostface. I was listening to that intro on that Supreme Clientele 2 the other day. I was like, damn, this nigga, boy. He tripping. Georgie Porgy. Love Me No More featuring Nas. Phenomenal album, man. Salute to Ghostface. I ain't got nothing more to say. Salute to Ghostface. One of the greatest to ever do it. Before I move along, though, if y'all go back and listen to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, that Kendrick Lamar album, it's a song with Ghostface and SZA on there. I think it's titled Purple Hearts. Tell me who had the best verse. Real talk. Let's get to it.
Premiere album, as soon as we announced it, A hit me. He's like, yo, I'm on that album. That's that. I was like, all right, say less. So when we got the song, Premier said, this is the beat. So he sent it to me. I sent it to A. A was with it. And then next thing you know, we had sample clearance issues one after the other. I think our lyrics was too vulgar, too wild, and the sample people was like a little not ready for it. So we went through changes and changes. So we kind of just really went into it. And when we did the record, me and A sat in his chair with his mic. I sat in mine, and we just freestyled back and forth, and it felt like real authentic, ancient, wild style movie, hip hop, just going in and having fun. And we were going back and forth and crafting the song. And it doesn't get more raw than that. It's great working with A since my first album to now, because he's scientific, he's technical, you know what I'm saying? He's laser sharp, he's a guy who really loves the art form. Nothing wavers. He's really like focused on it. He's a writer. He's writing all the time. He's somebody that really, really stays on his A game. That's why A is a great name for him. Stays on his A game.
Oh, that song was about to come on. I'm glad it didn't, but because I wouldn't have been able to stop it. Great song by him, Premier, and AZ. You know, Nas is my favorite rapper, and I want to suggest something because that song stood out to me on light years. It stood out to me because of their chemistry. And something that I probably would have to do before my career is over because I have a dope chemistry with a producer, E Fresh. He's the best to ever do it in my hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee. But if I don't get a collaborative album from Nas and AZ in the next 4 years, I might be pissed off at Nas because he's my favorite rapper. He don't owe me nothing. I shouldn't expect him to do anything, but I need that album, dog. With AZ, you know, y'all haven't missed. Y'all don't have a bad song. Why not? Why not? Go ahead and make it happen, big dog. Real talk. Let's get into the next conversation he talking about. This is Nas speaks on Raekwon, the Omerta. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all my take before I even play the clip. The Omerta, Nas had verse of the year on that.
Raekwon's vernacular infiltrated the English language. He brings something to rap that is a spice. He like embodies the whole street code that we were living late 80s, early 90s. You know what I'm saying? He's the truth. And it all comes out in his art. He's a slangologist. So the way he slings the slang is like, I know it sounds funny, but the way he does that is like his top tier. So, you know, getting on records with Ray is always a great time. Raekwon chose a song for me because he could hear me on it. I heard it and I went crazy. Just the way he jumped on it, the way his flow is, it's like a match made in heaven. Nobody could flow on beats the way Ray just gels with the beat. It becomes one. His voice is his instrument. It becomes one, his flow. So approaching records with Raekwon is like a serious task. And you just have to let yourself flow. And what I did was I let myself flow. But that verse came out like ahead of his time, and it kind of changed the course of certain people's movement just because of what I said months before my name was brought up, which is how things work. That's how things work. At the end of the day, I had so many verses for the beat that represented where I am really, that, you know what I mean, I wanted to switch that out because some people didn't even deserve for them to think that I'm going at them when I was just verbally killing everything. You know, that's what the beat called for. That's what Ray's energy called for. So I had so many other verses. The one that I actually put out, that Ray put out, was not the one that leaked. The one he put out, I was painting pictures on that. I was painting pictures that was probably like a verse of the year candidate. You know, definitely. But then the one that leaked was an instant verse of the year. So you can't lose. So we had to put this one out, official. The one that leaked is now no longer a leak. Here it is. Omerta.
I just said it was verse of the year. He even said it. He felt like it was himself. And the one that he didn't diss Jim Jones on, or he didn't acknowledge, I don't want to even call it a diss. He didn't acknowledge Jim Jones. I have that video of Jim Jones mentioning Nas earlier in 2025 and him and Shannon Sharp going back and forth about that, like he can't play with Nas. And Nas, you know, Jim Jones even said and came to the conclusion at the end of the year that Nas was an inspiration for him. And Nas was right to restructure that verse and not include him. I feel like dissing is something that is petty, something that needs to not even be a part of the culture as much as it is a part of the culture, because people want to continuously drop diss records so they can stay in the algorithm, so they can stay relevant. And it's starting to become lame, especially if you're not doing it at a high level. What's crazy to me also listening to this piece from Nas is that he said he had multiple verses, multiple times for multiple songs. So that lets me know that he's inspired. And I should have an expectancy to get more music from Nas. And I would like to see him collaborate with AZ. Real talk. Let's play the last time he talks on this clip, on this whole thing. Hold on. Where am I at? He talks about Slick Rick right here.
Slick Rick is Shakespeare. Slick Rick is a playwright, an MC, a movie maker. Slick Rick is a style, fashion icon, lyrically and how he dresses. Slick style, his style is like, you can hear it in my writing. You could hear it if you listen closely to Rick and you listen to me. You can hear Rick. You gotta listen close, but you can hear Rick. I mean, sometimes in some of my songs, I do it like outright. I'm doing like a Rick type of thing. You know, you can notice it. It's very noticeable. Other times, not so much. You don't really notice it. With this song with Rick, I didn't choose this. Rick chose it. He heard me on it. Rick is the greatest storyteller ever. So this is a storytelling song. I didn't want to do too much storytelling. I wanted to throw people off. So I start the rap off on some Black Bond type of imagery, but then I go into just throwing paint on the canvas and have you follow it, rocking Burmese and different fabrics on there and putting down different styles, changing up the flow so it wouldn't just be predictable. I had to approach the record like that so it could be as fresh as it can be.
Boy, it's kind of challenging for me to stop it before the song come on. But it's okay. That was the last one. And Slick Rick song that Nas collaborated with on this Legend Has It series was the first song that was released from these 7 projects that was released through Mass Appeal last year. And I agree with him. Slick Rick is the best storyteller of all time. He is an inspiration to a lot of artists, but I think, you know, as time progresses, people don't want to give people the credit they deserve. I can hear Snoop Dogg, you know, is inspired by Slick Rick. I can hear Nas is inspired by Slick Rick, and those are 2 of the greatest artists of all time. I might need to go back and listen to that Slick Rick album again because it was the first one. And I really didn't pay too much attention to it like I should have. And it was the only one from Mass Appeal that I didn't do a reaction to. Because, you know, I heard the first 3 records, and I was raised by my mom and my granny. And if I don't got nothing positive to say, I ain't going to say nothing at all. I reacted to the song that he collaborated with Nas, but I didn't react to the whole project because it was something about it that was missing. But reactions don't do albums justice. I want to change up something, but the way of the world that we in today, people want things now. I want to take my time like how we used to do back in the days when we was reading Source magazines and XXL magazines, and the album would be out a month before they react to it. Or, you know, we used to get those magazines once a month. We didn't get it like, you know, when an album dropped, you getting this stuff immediately within an hour. When you look on YouTube, people have reaction videos within an hour. Everybody who's releasing these reaction videos immediately is not doing nobody any justice, because your perspective isn't valid, because you really didn't get a chance to digest it. Pause. Great commentary for Nas. Great year last year. I'm looking forward to what Mass Appeal has coming in 2026. Dope perspective, dope assessment of all the individuals who he collaborated with, man. Round of applause.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.